Okay, so without a doubt, the leading cause of 6013 slag holes in the middle of a weld, not necessarily at the beginning, not at the end, but just random places in between, is the use of an incorrect rod angle. Now, where I'm going with this is, well, as you all can imagine, an electrical arc has a whole lot of force, and that force is used to push the molten slag from here where it deposits off the rod back behind the puddle where it protects the cooling weld from various atmospheric contaminants. And if this slag settles in your weld, it will cause a large hole in your weld. So in order to get the greatest arc force, you need to have sort of actually a comparatively steep rod angle, more like this, which is a little bit more than you use on 7018, 6010, anything like that. And keeping your electrode down like this and increasing your angle will force that slag to the back of the puddle where it belongs and help to prevent it from settling within the puddle and causing large wormholes. And without a doubt, the second leading cause of 6013 slag issues is, an incorrect restriking process. Now let's say I burned half of this electrode and the tip of it would have, just a couple little bits of flux or something hanging off there. And if I were going to start welding here, and if I struck the arc here and then started welding here, these little bits of slag can fall off into the puddle, and and that will contaminate your weld. You'll get a huge slag hole coming up through there, and that's bad. So how do you go about preventing this? Well, like I said, if I was going to restart my weld here, start it, whatever, I'd actually come back to about here, strike the electrode, and then long arc it over to where I'm going to start, set it down, start the puddle, and then start welding. And so we're just going to get to work on welding this thing here solid. Now I'm going to start the arc over here off camera, long arc it to the beginning of the joint, then run a nice steep rod angle all the way down here, and we'll see how it turns out. Let's do it. Here we go. But it's all good. So anyway, here's our bead, and 6013 is that electrode everyone talks about where if it's set right, doesn't take, much chipping at all. See, just like that. Clean out the toe lines here, take our wire brush, brush that clean. Let's take a look at it. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube and Chucky 2009, and it's fairly well into the evening. But anyway, we're going to be working on a scrap metal project for the shop tonight, and I'll cover that in a minute or two, but we're going to be using some of these Hobart stick 6013s because I have them laying around and I pretty much never use 6013, and a number of people have recently requested 6013 videos. Tonight, we're going to be making something to plasma cut flat stock with. Anyway, this is what we're going to be building tonight. There's two parts to this invention. There's a top part, which is going to close in on the sides of the flat stock and feed it straight in to where it hits a dead stop, and then there's a guide for the plasma cutter, and then there's a bottom structure which is going to support that top structure. But I'm going to start off about 90 amps. Oh, I hate this dial. I did not miss this amperage setup thing. Yeah, stickmates are good little welders. This dial honestly kind of sucks. Alright, well there's about 90 amps. Let's see how that gets us. the good old stickmate performed flawlessly, YouTube, after coming back from a brief vacation. But enough about that, because if you look over here, you see that everything is set up the way it needs to be. You know, we have it so that these coupons can't really move side to side, but they can move back and forth, which is the way we want it. I gotta figure out how to get these out of here now. Oh, the way they're supposed to go. Alright, now I'm gonna start feeding these things in, and we're gonna see exactly what's happening. Well, YouTube, I just shut down the stickmate, and I will tell you guys, I could not be more satisfied with the way this turned out. We have all these nice identically shaped things, except for that one that was kind of too wide and fell through. I guess I could cut this with this, but that would take more fine dexterity and motor skills than I have at almost 3 in the morning. But regardless, look at all those nice little evenly sized, identically sized pieces down there, YouTube. I'm pretty happy with it. Now, we did have some plasma cutting issues here and there, but that's because, you know, if you have a look at this torch, you will see that the consumables within are pretty well trashed. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and change those out. But, you know, it's been quite a while since I've done that last, so I can't really complain. And it still cuts surprisingly well. But to be fair, for that machine, that's pretty bad cut quality. However, that's a lot better than I could get freehand. And there's no way I could set up a straight edge manually in the time that I could just shove that flat stock forward and call it good. But you know what? This coming from someone who is used to running machines that range well into the thousands of dollars, you know, price tag wise range thing, that was pretty awesome. That little Tombstone cracker box welder does pretty dang well, and I am very happy with how this turned out. I had a blast making this. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Turns out you can have fun with a small cracker box machine and some 6013 and some 6011. One thing I will point out before we go is that this is not regular Hobart 6013. This isn't the stuff you buy in 5-pound packages. This is the stuff you buy in 1-pound packages, and it costs a lot more, but it is a lot better. I actually unintentionally ended up with some of the stuff I didn't know was different when I bought it. But regardless, you know, I had a blast making this. I rarely run 6013. And I rarely run 6011, but this was really fun. And if you guys like this idea, feel free to blatantly steal it, reverse engineer it, do what you need. This is something that I thought up in my mind in the course of a few minutes, drew out once, made from scrap metal in the course of an evening, and it's just not all that complicated. So anyway, take it, make it your own, enjoy. If you burn your garage down, not my problem. And as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more.